ultimate rage, coming back with yet another live here in the no cap zone where we have a strict dress code. Knock it the hell off. Knock it off with that capping ass garbage that you goofies be out here doing, okay? The only kind of cap, what up, Wiz? The only kind of cap we allow around these parts is your thinking cap. Otherwise, move the fuck around with that goofy ass garbage, okay? The only kind of cat we're cool with is your thinking cat. All we care about around these parts is the facts, the data, the truth, the information, the evidence, the statistics, things that can actually be demonstrated in real life. You know, like in real time, like while we're alive and sane and of sound mind and body, because otherwise I have no idea what the hell these goofies are talking about. And to tell you the truth, they don't know what the fuck they talking about. So that's why we gotta talk about it. So let's talk about it. All right, so check it out. So, apparently Ayatollah Khomeini is dead. I don't know if y'all got the word, but apparently, you know, the fucking Allah, I guess, didn't bless this nigga, didn't give him the heads up, didn't say, hey, hey, Khomeini, these Americans are ready to strike. You need to move on, move out, get the fuck from Dodge. You need to duck and cover. They about to send the missiles, bro. Yeah, apparently Allah just said, nah, I'm willing to allow sacrifices. What up, Law? What's up, my guy? What up, my dog? So I guess the Allah do I got a bud didn't mean shit. Because now that goofy's fucking dead. No, at all. Allah is useless as fuck. At least for the most prominent Muslims in the fucking world. The leader of Iran is now gone. Oh, too well, so sad, too bad, so sad. So, I guess that's it for that clown. So apparently, and this is according to the greats CNN, you know, they're such a wonderful fucking news source, right? We can trust CNN, correct? Well, according to them, the CIA closely watched Khomeini for months before the fatal strikes in Iran. Updated an hour and 50 minutes ago. I just opened this, so I haven't even read it. All right, so let's take a gander, shall we? For months, Israeli and American intelligence agencies, including the CIA, had been secretly watching Iran's Ayatollah Ali Khamenei for just the right moment. They were monitoring for his daily patterns, where he lived, whom he met with, how he communicated, and where he might retreat under the threat of attack. 5 people familiar with the matter told CNN they were keeping tabs, too, on Iran's senior political and military leaders who rarely gathered in the same place with the Ayatollah, the country's supreme leader for nearly 4 decades. So, over the last several days, they found their opportunity. Top Iranian officials, including Khomeini, planned to meet Saturday morning at separate sites on a Tehran compound that is home to the offices of the Ayatollah, the Iranian presidency, and the national security apparatus. The overly cautious, I guess for what you could consider overly cautious, the overly cautious supreme leader felt less vulnerable during daylight hours, an Israeli source said, and let down his guard. It was an opening some Israeli and U.S. officials believed was just too good to pass up. Attack plans for a dark of night assault were adjusted to a daytime assault, 3 of the people said. In a note to Israeli Air Force pilots, the chief of staff of Israel's military, Eyal Zamir, laid out the stakes. On Saturday at dawn, Operation Roaring Lion begins, he wrote. You are cleared to strike your targets. We're making history. I trust you. Good luck to us all. Yeah. So, yeah, this is the compound, allegedly. So in broad daylight, around 6 a.m. in Israel, Israeli warplanes fired into the compound in the opening salvo of a coordinated wave of strikes from the U.S. and Israel. They were equipped with highly accurate munitions and long-range missile, sources said. All three sites with the various leaders at the compound were hit simultaneously, and then hours later, President Donald Trump announced Khamenei was dead. Yeah. Bam! Got him! So yeah, there you have it. Ladies and gentlemen, we got him. Oh yeah, you already know, fam. I'm sure that now that we have defeated the mighty Iran, now we're going to move up on the Global Peace Index because we saved the day and we saved the world from their Islamic tyranny. We can go home and live happily ever after, right? I don't know about that. Now look, I'm not gonna sit here and act like I'm the biggest Iranian fan, right? I'm not like somebody who's like, no, oh no, not Khomeini, why Allah, Allah, why not Khomeini? He was just trying to make the world a better place. Oh my God. Why? Lord, no, why? No, I'm not. I'm sorry. Like, I don't shed a tear. I mean, on a human level, on a specifically human level, what do we always talk about? We talk about how precious life is. We talk about how life is so rare. We have yet to detect it anywhere else in the universe, which means that it must be fucking rare. So we should be valuing it. It's invaluable. The fact that we're even alive, that we exist, is amazing as fuck, and we should treat it seriously. That being said, I don't feel bad about that, dude. Yeah, I know, right? Um, I mean, right, exactly. Like the way, and I said this yesterday, violence should be, at least to me, a last option, a final option. After all else has failed, if we can't reach a deal, if we can't work amicably using what is called diplomacy, then okay, well then maybe I might have to bitch slap a motherfucker. Okay, might have to get these right. But see, the thing that's so fucked up is that there was already a deal that was in place. There was already, and I'm not the biggest Obama fan, right? But there was a deal in place. Whether you think it was ideal or not is irrelevant. The fact of the matter is that there was a deal in place. Trump literally nixed the deal, axed the deal, said fuck the deal, and then started doing all this shit. What was the point of doing that? What was the purpose of doing that? Of course, they say, oh, it's because of all these protests and they were murdering their own citizens and shit like that. Oh my God, how terrible that is, even though the same's been happening here like for years. In fact, we just had this whole thing in Minneapolis specifically about Americans losing their lives just for standing up for their rights, but that's neither here nor there. The fact of the matter is that there was a deal. Trump nixed the deal and then decided to engage in violence. This to me is terroristic behavior, if you ask me. See, to me, I don't know, maybe I'm just a loony, but I feel like world leaders should be like working together. You know what I'm saying? Like they should be like having discussions about how to best work together interdependently with synergy as all different countries because they all represent different stretches of land and large populations of people. So therefore, it is in everybody's best interest that all these countries work together because we all share the same planet. We all live on this planet that somebody randomly throughout history called Earth, and we all just accepted it. So now we all, who the fuck came up with that name for the planet Earth? What the fuck does it even mean? I don't know. But whoever you are, you're a fucking legend, but you're nameless as fuck. But hey, whoever came up with that word, you are remembered forever for coming up with that word. We just don't know your fucking name at all. But we all share the same planet. We all have to live on it. Oh shit, the Bulls are winning. No, don't do that. We're drinking. We all have to share this planet. We have to share the resources. We all have to breathe the air and drink the water and all that. Consume the microplastics and all that. We should be working to preserve our planet, to be stewards of our planet as much as possible. So for people to come into the office, take fucking deals with other countries and rip them up, then threaten them with violence, then engage in violence, fatal, destructive violence, that sounds like the type of shit a terrorist would do. That sounds like the type of shit that some psychopath would do. If I got to deal with you, right? Me and you are working together. We have both agreed, okay, this is what we're going to do, right? So then my successor comes along, rips up the deal with you and says, hey, if we don't do a fucking deal, we're going to kill your ass. And then they actually kill your ass. Like, that's kind of fucked up. That's some gangster ass, psycho ass shit. Ruthless, super shrewd ass shit. What is the point of that? What exactly does that accomplish? You're stirring shit up, stirring the pot, kicking up all kinds of dust, and now all kinds of shit might happen as a result. Now, I don't know about you, but to me, this is the type of shit that literally puts our national security at risk. Because what did we see? What did we already see happen? God damn it, I hate this button. 3 U.S. service members were killed in action while Iran and Israel trade strikes. So, I mean, what the fuck was the point of that? Yeah. And we see shit like that happen all the time. Like, I watch a lot of crime shit where shit like that happens all the time. Like, there's this one, right? There's this guy that's in New Mexico. And I guess he's the brother of another loser in New Mexico who was partly to blame for the death of a young girl who was then dismembered in the bathtub. So there was a guy who was involved in that. This guy is the brother of that guy. This guy is literally like in his front yard over by his car. There's a car driving by. I guess it was blasting loud music. No. It was driving fast. The guy in the car was driving fast past this guy in his front yard. So the guy drives past, and then the guy in his front yard is like, hey, fucking watch her, slow down, or some shit like that. The guy in the car backs up to the dude. That was his fatal mistake. And mind you, before I move forward, this is one of those cases where you got to blame the victim because the dude that was driving because it just kept going like nothing happened. But no, his stupid ass backed up and confronted the dude. Long story short, the dude that was saying, hey, slow down, grabbed his gun and shot the dude, killed him. Then started to try to be like, oh, I was afraid for my life. He threatened my life, man. He was gonna kill me. And then he was a super asshole in the fucking interrogation, too. I mean, he was complaining, bitching, owing, moaning, groaning, all insufferable ass narcissist. I swear to God. So you see shit like that happen. Like, It went from slow down to fucking now you stop forever. Now you ain't gonna move for forever because now you're dead. And shit can escalate that quickly for nothing. For nothing. Nothing happened. It was a totally senseless fucking situation. And we see this type of shit happen all the fucking time. All the time, all over the country, all over the world. All kinds of senseless shit. This is one of the reasons why we talk so much about the fucking senselessness of theism and theocracies and what have you. Because let's just be frank. Iran is the fucking Muslim theocracy. America, what I call the divided states of corporations, because it's the scam capital, the capital of the fucking world, is a Christian theocracy. America is a Christian theocracy. A bunch of Christian fucking loonies running shit based on their sci-fi fantasy fucking crazy shit. What is the point of it? What does it help? How does it help us in any way, shape, or form? I have no idea. But the fact of the matter is that we have these Christian nationalists that make it even worse. And so you got Christian loonies going against Muslim loonies, and none of these loonies know what the hell they're talking about, right? So what the fuck did we gain from the situation? What is the goal of this situation? What is the aim? What is the purpose? Okay, you want to stop them from developing a nuclear program. Why do you want to stop them from developing a nuclear program? Because you're afraid that they might use it, right? Because, I mean, a lot of these Muslim extremists don't mind engaging in suicide as a strategy. We've seen a lot of suicide bombings happen throughout history, particularly in the Middle East. And, you know, it's kind of crazy to deal with when you have people who are literally willingly suicidal, willing to sacrifice themselves for some kind of fucking purpose, especially when it's a ridiculous purpose like the sci-fi fantasy lunacy, right? Their brand, their version of sci-fi fantasy lunacy. What is the purpose of it all? What exactly do they hope to gain from this shit? What is the desired outcome that they're hoping to manifest with these terroristic activities? I don't know. So I get the fear of allowing a Middle Eastern country such as Iran to develop nuclear weapons, but at the same time, why does anybody have nuclear weapons? I mean, we're literally the only country in the world that has actually used one, which is insane. Because we did it just for the sake of doing it, just to see what would happen. And this is the type of shit that should never happen, because what the fuck is the point of that shit? The fact that these are even conversations in the modern age is absolutely disgusting, considering the fact that we need to be working together as people, as human beings, as earthlings, as conscious creatures. Because what the fuck is the point of this shit? What is the point of this violence? Why are these loonies that get in the office always so quick to fucking attack motherfuckers? For what? They always give us these crazy ass reasons. They always give us this ridiculous explanations and excuses, but none of it is ever demonstrated at how it actually helps us. If anything, it appears like this shit tends to benefit a bunch of different industries and a lot of times specific companies. Because you got to think, considering the fact that we're a hyper-capitalist society, you always got to look at what's in it for, well, not even who benefits. Who benefits and for what purpose? What is all of this for? What is the purpose of attacking Iran? Like, not just threatening them, but literally attacking them, taking out their fucking supreme leader. What is the gain of all of this? This is why we got to have these conversations. Because what is gained from attacking Iran? Because at this point, why would we want anybody to have nuclear weapons? Why don't we stop any and everybody from developing nuclear programs? Why didn't we try to stop China or Russia from developing their nuclear program? Why didn't we just stop everybody? Any fucking main world power from having nukes. See, because they got the nukes specifically because we had nukes. And they said, shit, these motherfuckers are crazy. Not only do they have nukes, they will use it. They will use them shits. That's us. See, this is the gaslighting that our country has done to the rest of the world and to our own citizens. People don't realize this is psychopathic behavior. To develop these ridiculous weapons and then to actually use them on people. And then to act like we're the heroes because we did it. This is the type of shit psychos do. Because if some other country did something like that, we would look at them like they were the sickest, most twisted fuckers in the world. We would don't let it be a motherfucking Middle Eastern country to do it, because we definitely painting them as fucking psychos. We definitely painting them as terrorists. That's what we've been doing ever since 9/11. We look at 9/11 like, oh my fucking God, how the fuck did anybody ever fly planes in the buildings? But what do? We send missiles and fucking all kinds of weapons all over the fucking world and have been doing so for literal decades. Then we shield the American population from seeing any of this shit, so we just act like we're just the greatest people in the fucking world. Because most people don't see the amount of damage and destruction we have caused out there to the rest of the world. So even though we can look at the Taliban and fucking ISIS like, oh my God, they're sick, twisted, evil, maniacal maniacs, we shield people from the shit we do and that we've done. And when I say we, I don't mean me, because I ain't do none of this shit. I didn't approve of none of this shit. All that shit happened like outside of my purview. But I say us because these bitch ass clowns claim to represent us. So I guess it is us because they represent us. They represent us, right? When they fucking decide they're gonna throw bombs over in Iran, we're like, yeah, go for it. I don't remember getting a vote in that, by the way. I don't remember anybody asking me whether or not I thought it would be a good idea to threaten and then attack Iran, but that's neither here nor there. But they supposedly represent me though. I don't recall them asking none of you, but then again, I could be wrong. Maybe they did ask some of y'all. Maybe some of y'all did have a word in edgewise and say, no, I think that if we do attack Iran, that would be a great strategy, because then the importance is that we can, whatever, want to extract oil, or you think that it would be a show of force so that the rest of the countries in the world can say, hey, let's not fucking fuck with the U.S. because they gonna fucking bomb us next or some shit. Like, this is crazy. This is absolutely just insane. That's why, like, when we talk about, say, the Fermi paradox, right? We talk about how we have yet to discover the existence of intelligent alien life, because if we could, 9 times out of 10, they'd probably be more advanced than us, right? And considering the fact that we don't see aliens, we only think about what we would do because we're the only known form of existence of intelligence, of high intelligence that we know of, right? So we think of ourselves as, well, if we were in this position, if we had these capabilities, we would probably be trying to accomplish X, Y, and Z. Because that's what we would do. I mean, because of these reasons. If we have the ability, we're trying to improve our abilities, enhance our abilities, and that probably would mean that we would scale up and then do these different types of things. The Kardashev scale is more of what I'm speaking of. The type of civilization that can harness the energy of their environment, whether you're talking about the planet, the solar system, or even the galaxy itself, right? But considering we don't see these type of civilizations, we can only think about it from what we would do. So in other words, trying to think through how we would go about doing things, but then also thinking about how right now in real life, we got to try to see ourselves from the perspective of others on the outside of looking in and how they feel about us the same way we try to look at other countries outside of us. And if we were to look at ourselves from the outside, we would see, yeah, we're acting like fucking psychos, man. If other countries did the type of shit we do, we would look at them like they were fucking crazy and we would have to put a stop to them. But see, because we're the greatest country in the world, because we're the biggest bullies on the fucking, on the sandbox, on the sand lot, motherfuckers are too afraid to fight back. And because us citizens are super duper bitch made, we're too afraid to fight these fuckers. I see all these loonies that claim they care so much about the Second Amendment, talking about how they want to fight against the tyrannical government. They want their guns so they can fight against the tyrannical government, not recognizing the fact that our government's been tyrannical for a very long fucking time. These bitch-ass cowards would never fight against this tyrannical government because they wouldn't know a tyrannical government if it took their gun from them. I mean, a government that persistently violates our Fifth Amendment rights is pretty tyrannical, if you ask me. A government that decides they can just kill you for whatever reason they feel like, because you had a gun, or because they receive reports of a noise complaint, therefore they're going to shoot you down dead. They broke into your house, you went to grab your gun because you don't know who the fuck just broke into your house, and then they shoot you dead. Didn't even fucking bother to say hello, put your hands up. The fact of the matter is, our government is a gangster government, a tyrannical government, a terroristic government. These fuckers in office are literal terrorists. They have been. And it doesn't matter which of the two parties you want to select. Democrat, Republican, Republican, Democrat. Democrat, Republican, Republican, Democrat. They've all been terrorists. They've all engaged in fucking antisocial behaviors. They have all broken the fucking rules of war. They have violated all kinds of treaties. They've done whatever the fuck they felt like because they can. I don't even know the point of the UN when the US can say, I don't give a damn. We just gonna do whatever the fuck we want. Do something. Do something. The government, the US government is basically Debo incarnate as a government. What you got on my Drake? What's up, Craig? What's up, Red? What you got on my 40, homie? As a government, that's our government. They do whatever the fuck they want. They don't give a fuck about anybody else. They don't give a fuck about us, the citizens. They don't give a fuck about peace treaties and diplomacy. They do what the hell they want. But see, the problem with modern times is that it's not necessarily just that they're doing whatever they want. They're doing whatever business wants. They're doing whatever industry wants. Again, when you're looking at these stories, you got to look at who benefits. It's almost never just about anything political. It's not like, oh, well, we don't want them to have weapons. Because if that's the case, then we should have real discussions as to why. Instead of just saying it, we should have real discussions as to why. And that's why we're going to start talking about these theologies, these theocracies. The reason why no country in the world should have any of these kinds of weapons is because, frankly, there's no point. There's no point to having them. You want to have mistrust against other people, the last thing you need are super duper weapons that can help you super duper destroy some shit. especially if they affect the lives of like everybody on the fucking planet. Because now we got to figure out what's the fucking problem. What's the fucking problem, G? Why are we beefing? Why are we beefing with other nations? For what? If we're supposed to be the big dogs on the block, then why are all these issues? This is why the conversations are so fucking nuanced, fam. Because, look, I'm not a fan of any of these other nations. I'm not a fan of any of their sci-fi fantasy lunacy at all. But looking at it from their perspective, on some level, I can understand why they do some of the shit that they do. Not that I approve of it at all. Not that I'm cool with it at all. But it's like, we're so cushioned, we're so comfortable in our relative peace here in America that we don't ever have to worry about motherfuckers bombing us or flying planes in us. That's why we had such an overreaction to 9/11. Because, see, we do 9/11s like every other fucking day. It might not necessarily be literally flying planes in the buildings, but we send so many fucking missiles and armies and navies and all these motherfuckers. We send the military out to do all kinds of shit, all kinds of excursions, all kinds of war, all the fucking time. We have been doing it this whole entire time, but the intelligence agencies keep us in the dark about all that shit because, see, it's difficult to sell violence to people, at least international violence. We can sell domestic violence all day. Domestic violence is awesome. We love that shit, right? That's why we have the Hollywood blockbuster movies. We can sell all that type of shit where we're the ones we're saving the day. We're the good guys, they're the bad guys. Now we're gonna go in and save the day, defeat the evil fucking warlord or the evil drug dealer, the evil fucking terrorist or whatever. But see, in real life, we're the evil terrorists. In real life, we're the evil warlord, drug dealer. That's us. That's literally what we are doing. All the numbers, all the statistics show we are not no peaceful motherfuckers. We are not motherfuckers that are just, oh, we're just saving the day. Well, see, the reason why we're 127 on the Global Peace Index is because, see, it requires a lot of work in order to help protect other countries. Shut the fuck up with that bullshit. I'm not trying to hear none of that crap. If America wanted to be peaceful, we would do peaceful things like, I don't know, making deals, working with other countries, not sending military, not blowing shit the fuck up. So think about how desperate motherfuckers have to be that they're willing to blow themselves up to fuck with us. Because, see, even though it's easy to be like, oh, they're evil, terrible, horrible fucking Muslims or whatever the fuck, it's much more nuanced than that. Imagine somebody blew up your house and your mom and your son and your daughter died. Your wife is maimed. She ain't got 2 legs. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's gonna make you be like, man, I don't give a fuck about nothing. Fuck it. If I gotta die to fuck these motherfuckers up, I'm gonna do that shit. They fucking killed my whole family. I just seen all kinds of horrific, disgusting stories that are results of us. Even when Obama was in fucking office, I remember seeing stories where he would fucking send drone strikes to hit up motherfuckers' weddings and shit. Crazy shit. Motherfuckers that we suspected. Like, what kind of shit is that to blow up a motherfucker's wedding? Like, come on, fam. You'd probably be a little suicidal too. Somebody blew up your fucking wedding. That's supposed to be one of the happiest times of your life, and then motherfucking blow up the shit. That's not gonna make you a happy camper out here. That's probably gonna make you be like, man, fuck whoever the fuck did that shit. It's just like the gang culture out here in Chicago. It's literally the same shit. The Tyshawn Lee story I talk about all the fucking time, right? There was a story about a decade ago, this child, this young boy, who stayed right over here, got murdered He used to go to the school that I used to go to back over this way. But see, what a lot of people don't know is that the boy got murdered as an act of retaliation for some shit that his dad did to the perpetrators who killed him. See, the game is always deeper than most people want to understand. See, because there's so much fucking propaganda peddling here in the States. There's so much fucking bullshit. You wonder why they wanted to kick me off of TikTok? It's because of shit like this. Because who the fuck is actually talking about this shit and talking about it like this? Like, look, fam, when you're a fucking bully, people ain't gonna like you. People will fucking do all type of shit to stand up to a bully, knowing that they're outarmed, knowing that they're outmatched. That's why the motherfuckers in Vietnam and the motherfuckers in Afghanistan did the shit, a lot of the fucking shit that they did. Used a lot of the tactics that they used to make it difficult for our super heavily armed and heavily fucking trained military to make inroads over there. At least from the shit that we were allowed to see. Right? So that's why the whole situation is FUBAR. Because even with all the fucking weapons and training and military vehicles, UAVs and fucking Humvees and all that shit, motherfuckers that's fucking desperate gonna do whatever they can to fuck your shit up. They ain't gonna fight fair. I mean, that's literally how our country started. The motherfuckers, the founding fathers, they were using guerrilla warfare. They knew they were outarmed. They knew that they were outgunned by the motherfucking British. So they used what they could instead of doing the fucking typical, we're just gonna be front lines and we're gonna fight. No, we're gonna be hiding in the trees, hiding in the bushes. While y'all coming through the motherfucking scene, we gonna fucking ambush y'all from all sides. Now, y'all fucking sitting ducks, but we hitting at you from both sides. That's how real life works. God damn, the Bulls fucking these boys up now. That's how this shit works now. And it's been like that ever since. That's why we have all these issues with law enforcement and guns and I mean gangs and especially like in Mexico right now with the cartels is pretty much on par with the law enforcement. They just as funded and got just as many guns and personnel. That's why they got all these issues there. So the fact of the matter is, not only do we have to deal with all of this fucking chaos and destruction, but then you got to look at the politics, you got to look at the business and the economics of it, and you see that this game is way deeper and way worse than anything you could ever have imagined. And then you throw in the religion. Oh my fucking God. It's become a nightmare scenario. That might explain why we're 85 seconds to midnight. Because all we see is death and destruction every fucking where. And you would think that in the modern age that we can choose better options, that we don't have to fucking engage in all this fucking violence. That in the modern age, we should be able to talk it out, be like, hey, fam, what the fuck? Let's cool it out, man. There's gotta be a better way. Because if I shoot you, then he gonna shoot me, and then she gonna shoot him, and then he gonna shoot her, and it's just gonna be a constant. It's just like in the streets. It's just like in the streets. It's just never-ending violence. It's just never-ending violence. Bloodshed, emotions, fucking flaring, traumas being experienced and not getting taken care of, and motherfuckers is fighting for the top spot, egos and hyper efficiency. All this shit goes into it. But what is it all for? What is it all for? Who actually is benefiting from any of this at all? So I bring this up because there's a few a few things I wanted to talk about in regards to all of this shit. The fuck happened to the fucking tabs I had? So, as I always talk about, we got a lot of fucking loonies in office. But the loonies all across the country, they're so loony, they don't even know what the fuck they're they're doing. They don't even agree on what they should do and why. So here's a story I found, and I got a few of them for y'all. So this is before the Iran situation. And it's shit like this that it makes me fucking laugh to see how goofy these fuckers are, all of them. So, according to USA Today, Christian leaders denounce Trump actions, warn of crisis of faith. They warn of a crisis of faith. Isn't that hilarious? Hundreds of Christian leaders and scholars nationwide are denouncing President Donald Trump's administration and urging more active resistance among the faithful to the injustices and anti-democratic dangers sweeping across the nation. We are facing a cruel and oppressive government, their collective statement begins. In moments like this, silence is not neutrality. It is an active choice to permit harm. Titled A Call to Christians in a Crisis of Faith and Democracy, the letter says the nation is facing a profound moral, spiritual, and democratic emergency. Its release coincides with the start of the Christian season of Lent, a period of repentance, self-reflection, and resistance to temptation. Fuck out of here. We thought it was important to tie into a season where many Christians go deeper into their faith. A Christian social justice, blah, blah. Part of what we're critiquing is the way in which many white evangelical Christians succumb to an unconditional support of the administration, despite the fact that his actions are completely antithetical to the teachings of Jesus. And therein lies the fucking problem. Because, I mean, all right, so check it out. First problem comes, and I hate to get into this. I hate getting into it. The first problem is that Christianity has two sides to it. It has the A side and the B side. It's like a fucking old school. It's these things called cassette tapes. I don't know if you youngins out there know what these are, but these are like before like MP3s and fucking streaming and shit like that. You actually had physical media. They call it physical media. These were like little like device things that you had to have physically that you used to carry the actual music files and stuff, right? And then you have to put them in these things called cassette players, right? But see, the thing is, they could only fit so much of the media on one side. So when you finished that side, you had to take out the tape, turn it around, put it back in, and then you could listen to the rest of the shit. So you had what's called the A side and the B side. You had the first like 5 to 7 songs and then the rest of the songs on the other side, okay? So, and it's the same way with the Bible. You got the A side and the B side. You got the Old Testament and you got the New Testament, okay? See, the thing about it is, you don't get the New Testament without first going through the Old Testament. Otherwise, it wouldn't be a New Testament. It'd just be one Testament. They got the Old Testament and the New Testament. That's one of the ways that Christians get confused all the fucking time. All the time. Because the teachings in one side are very, 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 very different from the teachings of the other side, right? So before this Jesus character, you had all these other characters that were somehow also interacting with this alleged supernatural, super intelligent, super thing. And at that time, the super thing was telling them very, very, let's just say different things than what Jesus was talking about on that other side when he allegedly arrived and started giving his own teachings. This is a major problem for Christians because, see, when you have different teachings in one book, and you have a bunch of different people reading the same book, and a lot of these people are very, very like retarded, stupid, idiotic, imbecilic, biased. They have their own ideas. They have their own views. They have their own fucking worldviews. And they're working on this book. They're reading from this book, taking from this book. They tend to pick and choose the parts that they like and don't like, the parts that call to them and the parts they're like, fuck all that shit. Which is one of the ways, what up, famo? Which is one of the ways that you get all these different views, you get these different denominations, you get these different factions and subgroups and what have you, because they all have different interpretations and different views and all of that. And that's one of the main critiques I have about this group, because if they had the supernatural, super intelligent, super thing, you would think that the super thing would be very, very perceptive of this fact and would account for that in advance so that these divisions didn't happen. Unfortunately, that's not what happens. You get all kinds of divisions. You get so many divisions that there was a major event in Christian history called the Protestant Reformation that occurred as a result of their different interpretations of their fucking supernatural, super intelligent, super thing, super book, right? The super comic book thing. So, and a lot of Christians don't even know about this. That's the crazy part. Like, it's not a topic that gets discussed a lot among Christians, and I would know because I used to be one, right? A lot of Christians don't even know about any of this Christian shit. A lot of Christians don't even know, should I say, a lot of Protestant Christians don't even know that Catholicism is Christianity. A lot of Protestants look at Catholicism as some completely different thing because they don't know their own fucking Christian history. But see, if there was an actual super intelligent super thing in real life, you would think that it would, like, I don't know, educate them on this type of shit. And not only that, you would think that before a reformation would ever need to happen, that the Lord, you know, if it was actually real and was actually true, that it would actually, like, keep these people on one accord because it can just inform people of its nature and what its fucking agenda, its instructions, its views, and all this type of shit. You would think it would just have one set of views and that would be it. You would think that they wouldn't need to have a Jesus come through and do all this fucking shit because they would just have the Lord, and the Lord would just say, hey, this is it. This is what I want y'all to do. It's how I want y'all to think. It's how I want y'all to act, and that's it. And then if it changed its mind, I don't know why it would need to change its mind, but if it decided to change its mind, you would think that it would do it in a way simpler way than just like having to sacrifice itself to itself in a different form as a loophole for its own rules, when it could just like change the rules and just be like, hey, you know what? Maybe rape isn't all that great of an idea. You know, maybe murdering people isn't like the coolest thing in the world. So like maybe people should just, I don't know, just like stop doing it. You know, so instead of the 10 commandments, it would give like just 10 more commandments, or it would be like the 10 commandments second edition or some shit. That would need to do all of this, like, well, let's tell this story about this one guy from 3 different perspectives that all collide and coincide and disagree on different aspects of different things and don't really actually mean anything. don't really accomplish anything, don't teach people to really actually seek to accomplish anything, just give them a bunch of vague, nice ideas sometimes and just assume that it's all good. These are the things that show you how ridiculous and preposterous theism is, particularly Christianity. Because if it was at all true, why would they even need a book at all? Why would they even need a book? If they have the supernatural, super intelligent, super thing, why don't we go directly to the source and then just posit it for fucking answers? Just be like, hey, super intelligence, help us create an app that helps to get rid of poverty in the world. And then it can provide us with that exact methodology, and then all the Christians would just do it, and now poverty is a thing of the past. The only problem is they never seem to accomplish a goddamn thing. They never seem to have answers for anything. And most importantly, they don't seem to have an exact data point concerning its current whereabouts as we speak. Every single day we get on these different platforms, we get on these apps, and we posit, we ask, we demand. We demand of these fucking sci-fi fantasy loonies that they demonstrate to us the existence of the supernatural super fucking thing, especially considering the fact that all these supernatural super loonies all across the country, they feel like you have to have a supernatural super loony in the position of leadership. And it doesn't seem to have truly benefited us as a society, considering the fact there are 85 seconds to midnight and we're 128 out of 163 countries on the Global Peace Index, which I don't know if you're aware of this, but that is a failing grade. So that's why we ask every day these same questions. What is the purpose of Christianity? What exactly are they hoping to accomplish? And we pose the same question to Islam too. What exactly are they hoping to accomplish? What are the goals that they are aiming towards? Because they don't seem to be pro-social goals. They don't seem to be actually helpful in any way. Every time you demand these loonies to demonstrate their bullshit, they always point to these periods back in the past when their team was actually contributing positively to science, to understanding, not because of their beliefs, but in spite of their beliefs, right? Because if these ideologies were all about truly positing, truly researching, truly experimenting with reality in the course of seeking to understand it, they would be the innovators. They would be the ones doing the work, helping us to understand the nature of our reality and thus helping us to shape it for our collective benefit. The only problem is that they constantly fail miserably. And as a matter of fact, the overwhelming majority of their members seem to be opposed, or should I say, maybe not the majority, but a significant enough number. Because honestly, I don't really know. I mean, we could look up the research concerning the things that Christians believe in their stances. But considering the fact that we're 85 seconds to midnight, it must be a significant enough amount of the population, or else I would think that we would be trending in the other direction. So what is the point of these ideologies? What are they actually accomplishing? What exactly are they accomplishing in the real world right now? Why exactly are they always engaging in infighting? Why can't they agree on their own ideology? They all share the same ideology. They're all, I thought, on the same page. And yet, they don't appear to be. So there's this other article, and I'm going to get back to this first article, but there's this other article that I found from Iowa, of all places, from the Iowa City Press Citizen by Jane Yo on February 27th, 2026 at 6:03 a.m. Central Standard Time. How can a Christian vote for Trump? This is what she asked. She asked this because I guess Trump made a comment such as this, like, I don't know how a person of faith can vote for a Democrat. I really don't. I really don't. I don't know. That was my fake Trump fucking impersonation. President Trump's comment at the annual prayer breakfast has haunted my thoughts. It was the opposite of what I sometimes wonder. How can a Christian vote for Trump? In our society, voting and faith can be confusing. Do we vote to feed the poor, to outlaw abortion, to welcome the stranger, to secure our borders, to bring down the cost of groceries? Do we vote in response to propaganda purchased and spread by billionaires? I grew up in a time when Mennonites were suspicious of voting. It was better not to vote. It was better to stay out of the world's messes. As Mennonites became more knowledgeable of world and national politics, voting became a way to choose the lesser of two imperfect options. Maybe the world would be better if certain people were in power. Church and state are messy. Where does loyalty lie? How much does the conduct of a leader influence our vote, our faith? Can a Jesus follower vote for someone who called people from other countries garbage? Do we remember the story of the foreigner, the Samaritan? When Jesus was asked, "Who is my neighbor?" Jesus told the story of the Good Samaritan. This foreigner wasn't garbage, but an example to the faithful. Some people in Jesus' time might have seen Samaritans as garbage. Can a Jesus follower vote for someone who encourages U.S. immigration and customs enforcement to spread fear and separate young children from their families? Would Jesus make excuses for ages killing people? Jesus said let the children come to me. Jesus said, love your enemies. So can a Jesus follower vote for someone who, okay, that's enough of that shit. Knock it the fuck off. All right. So first of all, how can you be a follower of Jesus if you don't know where he's at? How can you follow anyone if you don't know where they are? This is why I have a major problem with Jesus followers, because they claim to follow Jesus, but they don't know where he's at. That's literally the main problem of this. And here's what I mean. I mean this literally and figuratively. Okay? These followers believe that this guy is a real person. At least a lot of them. A lot of them believe he's a real person who exists in real life and exists somewhere in reality. But every day we get on here, we demand these people to provide us with the exact location, and 100% of the time they fail miserably. Miserably. They provide us with all kinds of bullshit ass explanations. They provide us with all kinds of bullshit excuses, but they never provide an answer that they actually can demonstrate as the true answer that demonstrates the exact literal location of their supernatural super entity, super thing guy, superhero guy, whatever the fuck they think he is. But I also mean this figuratively as well, right? Because what I mean is, these people, they all claim to represent this dude. They all claim that they follow this dude. They all claim that they support this guy and his beliefs and all that type of shit. But they all pick and choose what they want to believe and what they don't want to believe. That's why I don't get too caught up in their lore. That's why we ask them every day, where is he at right now? Because see, if this is a real guy, if this guy was really a real person, then we should be able to find him, and then we can ask him directly, hey, what the fuck do you think? Since you are supposedly the greatest dude of all the dudes, since you're supposed to be like the dude, then you should be able to provide us the answers right now, directly, so that nobody has to be confused. Nobody has to have different interpretations of what you supposedly, allegedly said 2,000 years ago. You can just tell us what you think right now. And then everybody can be on the same page. All the Christians can know, okay, Jesus is right here. He's at this exact specific location. And these are the things that he wants us literally to do. This is how he wants us to conduct ourselves. These are the positions he wants us to hold. These are the stances that we should have as Christians. But see, they don't do that. They can't do that because they don't know where he's at. And when you have a book that has differing ideas all over the place. I mean, all these different stories, all these different positions, it's a fucking mess. It's a fucking mess of a book where you can find any and every position of any kind, depending on how you want to interpret it. So as a result, if I don't care who you are as a person, if you were trying to read the Bible objectively, you actually sat and read it, not as a believer, not as somebody who's just like already like I accepted 100%, but just as somebody who, if you change the names, change the fucking terms and all that, right? Like, so it wasn't the Christian Bible, but it was some other book, like it was some other J.R.R. Tolkien story. Would this make sense to you? What exactly would you get out of it? What really are the lessons that are worth learning and why? And the fact of the matter is, it doesn't matter how many people you got together to engage in this practice, everybody would come up with different answers and different interpretations. Everyone, which is what they do. That's literally what they do because everybody has their own rubric. Everybody has their own ideas. They have their own way of interpreting data. They have their own views. They have their own way of filtering this story versus that story. That's why right now, how many times do you see like atheists that criticize Christians for eating shellfish as an example? Because there are different parts like that that a lot of Christians don't even look at, even though it says it in their book. And like I say, I don't like to get all into their book because to me, that's just too deep a rabbit hole. That's just not worth going down. There are plenty of other creators that do it. Let them do it all day. I go to the core of the problem. The fact that they can't produce this sci-fi fantasy, super intelligent, super thing that they worship all day to begin with. And to me, if you can't produce that, then why does any of the rest of it matter? And that is the core of the problem. They can't locate their actual supernatural super thing. They don't all agree on the nature of the supernatural super thing because it simply doesn't exist. If it existed, at some point in time, they should have been able to demonstrate it at any time. They've had more than enough time, literally thousands of years. By now, they should have been able to come up with something that could sound even remotely reasonable, and yet they have failed miserably to even find a starting point other than, well, you can't see the air. Or did you look at the beautiful trees? Don't you see the wonderful trees? How else could it have come here? How else could it have? There's only one way. It's the Lord. Obviously, it's the Lord. Well, but see, you see this pretty watch, right? You see this watch? Obviously somebody made it, right? Somebody had to make the watch. Like, you don't just see watches on the beach, like just magically appear. Somebody had to construct such a thing. So when I look at the wonderful, beautiful trees, I look at that as the same shit as this fucking watch. That somehow, even though it's natural, it's like somehow not natural. So therefore it had to be not naturally placed there by some supernatural thing. Or whatever the fuck. Don't you understand my faith? Don't you understand my faith? My faith in the fucking faith? Yeah, fuck. And that's the best that they got. And they actually think that that's going to work for them in the 21st century. That this is the way that they should conduct themselves. And that we should be accepting of this. I gotta read this. I gotta fucking read this. I'm sorry. Can a Jesus follower vote for someone who talked openly about grabbing women by the genitals? I'm sorry. Like, I had to. Oh, shit. It's funny because they did. They fucking did. At least some of them did. A lot of them did. They voted for somebody who talked openly about grabbing women by the genitals. And by the genitals, they meant by the pussy. Stop being such a pussy and say the fucking word. Fuck is wrong with you? Have we forgotten that Jesus treated women with respect? Counter to some men of his day, he talked to them in public. What? We remember the story where Jesus ignores two codes of behavior. He initiates a conversation with the woman who was a foreigner, a Samaritan. See, this is what I'm talking about. This is why Christianity is simply not true, fam. Because Christians make up their own shit. They just make up their shit. It's like I was saying the other day when I was talking to my uncle. He just started blabbering off all this fucking shit. God don't like ugly. God don't like the God this. God don't make mistakes. The Lord wants to do it. Christians do this all the fucking time. They just rattle off a bunch of bullshit that has zero basis at all. Right? And you know, I pick and choose when to engage in these discussions with these loonies, because I'm telling you, everybody is a loony. 2/3 of the country talk like this, like it's normal to talk about. And I wish I could debate everybody because I get so sick when people talk to me like that. So sick of people talking like that. They just make up shit and act like I'm supposed to be like, yeah, that totally makes sense, man. Yeah, the Lord this and the Lord that. And what the fuck does it? We're 85 seconds to midnight with that fucking type of talk. And so here's where this person goes. God, not just white people, not just Americans, not, wait, hold up. Let me go above. Okay, here we go. How does a Jesus follower respond to someone who posts a racist picture of a past president? Posting Barack and Michelle Obama as apes was an example of Trump's racism. He has a long history of being racist. Who comes from shithole countries? Who was accused of eating pet dogs and cats? Have Christians forgotten that all people are created in the image of God? Not just white people, not just Americans, not just Republicans? See, I find a major problem with talk like that, because if you go into their fucking lore, if you read their fucking sci-fi fantasy novel, you find all of that. You find all of that. See, this is the hypocrisy of these sci-fi fantasy ideologies, right? Because a lot of liberal Christians love to lean in only into the New Testament, but they completely ignore the Old Testament as a result. Because they know that the Old Testament sounds pretty fucking bad. It sounds pretty fucking bad. The New Testament sounds a lot better until you actually look into the details, and then you see it's actually pretty shitty too. Right? And so that's why I question. Oh my God. I'm sorry, I gotta read this part. Trump claims to have protected the Christian faith. Is he protecting faith or his power? Supporting Trump, loving America, and being a Christian has become a mixed, messy, malicious muddle. If we love America, does that mean we justify treating strangers cruelly? If we love America, does that mean we cover up for pedophiles? Okay. Now I got a major problem. Because these fucking loonies, these type of loonies are exactly the problem that I have with these fucking loonies. I'm glad that it appears as if she's like, wait, is this a she? Yes. that Jane Yo, who wrote this article, appears to be against pedophilia, which is a good thing, I think. But what do we talk about every single day on this motherfucking show? We talk about all the Christian rape that happens every fucking day. Every fucking day. On their watch. By their leaders. In real time. And they act like they don't know that this shit has been happening this whole time. And that's why I have a major problem with Christians, because they don't even know what happens in their own facilities. Like, look at this shit. This is the type of shit. It's so funny, man. Check this out. This is today by Us Weekly, right? Shia LaBeouf says the Bible condemns homosexuality and he's a traditional Catholic. I fuck with the Bible. I fuck with the Bible. In other words, he buys bull. I know I'm fucking deep off into the Bible. I know what the Bible says about homosexuality. When host Andrew Callahan asked what the Bible says about homosexuality, LaBeouf replied, nah. That's what it says, Callahan 28 said, while LaBeouf added, yeah. Callahan pointed out that the Bible had been written a really long time ago, leading LaBeouf to reply, bro, you can do whatever you want with the text. It's not my business. I'm a traditional Catholic. That's okay. I really fuck with the Bible. The interview with LaBeouf was published the same day that the actor was arrested in New Orleans for a second time in connection with an alleged Mardi Gras incident. See, this is what these fucking loonies do, fam. Like the hypocrisy is unbelievable with these people. The fact that you can have people like that who, mind you, a lot of fucking Christians, especially conservative Christians, but even some liberal Christians too now, don't get it twisted. There's a lot of liberal Christians, very anti-gay, who say this stuff. And to be fair to them, the Bible does have a lot of anti-gay shit. And it pisses me off that these type of articles don't do their due diligence to like go into it and say, well, the Bible does, even though we're not going to do it because fuck the Bible. But trust me, it definitely says a lot of stuff. But again, people pick and choose the parts that they like and they don't like. That's why even the fucking Pope had bishops, his own subordinates, be like, man, fuck you, dude. No, fuck this dude. No, okay, he's the emissary of the Lord, but there's no way the Lord told him that the fags want to go to heaven, that the Lord is totally cool with the fags going to heaven. There's no way. No way. Like we see shit like that all the time. All the fucking time. Because at the end of the day, they're full of shit. That's why we talk about it. That's why we talk about it. Because they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. They make up shit as they go along. They don't have a direct connection to a supernatural, super intelligent, super thing. Because if they did, they would be able to demonstrate it to us right now. They'd be able to show us that they have a direct connection to a super intelligence that gives them all these super answers. And they would do things that make fucking sense. They would do things that demonstrate that they do have a connection to a supernatural super intelligence because they be just doing a lot of super intelligent ass shit. That's why when they talk about their fucking prophecies and their predictions, they're full of shit. When they talk about their methods and all that, they're full of shit. Their prophecies are never specific at all. In fact, they're kept extraordinarily vague for a reason, so that they can just interpret it however the fuck they want to, because this is how loonies behave. See, when loonies don't actually have any insight, they keep things vague all the time, so that no matter what happens, they can appear to seem like they were super duper intelligent. They can appear like, oh no, we totally know what we were talking about. And so they pretend like they have this insight. But see, now that we're in the modern age, we can improve our standards way fucking higher than any bullshit sci-fi fantasy ideology could ever have. Now, in the modern age, we can demand, hey, show us that shit right now, this second. Show us any of that shit. Why do you think they wanted to run me off of TikTok so fucking hard? And I know y'all probably get sick of hearing me talk about it, but I always talk about it because it happened to me. It happened to me, okay? The fact that just what we're doing right now, we would do it on TikTok, and we would actually do huge numbers doing specifically this, challenging theists, specifically Christians, to show us their fucking bullshit right now. The fact that they are so numerous and that they're so boisterous and obnoxious and loud, and they're all over the place. We got a billboard right over here that says, worried? Jesus provides rest. Right here. Like, we don't have all these churches right over here all through up and down these streets. And what the fuck rest does Jesus provide? They got a phone number on the fucking group. Ain't no location of Jesus anywhere. And what do you know? There's 300,000 to 400,000 churches in America, yet zero of them can provide you with the exact current location of Jesus. None of them have been able to demonstrate how they can use Jesus to accomplish anything. Like yesterday, we talked about how there's that one congregation in Atlanta that's doing a stop the violence, like, I don't know, protest or some shit. And I'm like, fam, when has that ever worked? When has that ever worked? You don't think they've been doing stop the violence shit here in Chicago all these fucking years? If it ain't worked anywhere, what the fuck are y'all gonna do? You would think that with people that claim that they have the supernatural super thing, that it would give them better fucking strategies than the same old shit that clearly doesn't work. Like we were saying yesterday, I've never seen a gangbanger see a stop the violence sign and be like, you know what? I think I'm gonna stop the violence. I'm putting my gun down. I'm gonna renounce my gang. And I'm totally schmoly gonna turn my life around. We rarely ever see that. When have we ever seen that? When has that ever truly been effective? Nigga, we 85 seconds to midnight. That shit clearly don't work. If these people claim that they had a supernatural super thing that they could directly interface with, you would think they would be able to accomplish way the fuck more than what they have in this whole entire fucking time. That's why I always ask, what the fuck exactly are they doing? How exactly does their way actually help us at all? You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't make any fucking sense. Like, look at this shit. U.S.-born Pope Leo condemns airstrikes and urges responsible dialogue. Fam, where the fuck is the Lord, G? I don't give a fuck what the Pope thinks. Where's the Lord? Why doesn't the fucking Pope provide the location of the Lord? Why doesn't he just bring the Lord and be like, hey, I'm with Jesus right here, bro. Here's what Jesus got to say. And then Jesus can be like, yeah, I'm the Lord Jesus Christ, and I disapprove of these airstrikes. That never happens because there ain't no Jesus nowhere. These minor fuckers don't know what the fuck they're talking about. They will never know what they're talking about because they're full of shit. That's why they all disagree on all this fucking sci-fi fantasy fucking bullshit. That's why the Pope can just say, I condemn it. So what? What you gonna do, Pope? You gonna get the Lord to come and stop Trump? You're gonna get the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit to give Trump a slap on the wrist? You gonna get the Lord to spank Trump with a fucking supernatural super belt? Fuck out of here with this bullshit. You loonies don't know what the fuck y'all are talking about. That's why I challenge y'all. Because despite the fact that 200 million Americans are Christian of some kind, zero of them know what the hell they're fucking talking about. Zero of them have any idea of what to do to solve any of this shit, because all of them, 100% of them, are completely, totally, and utterly full of shit. Otherwise, they would have not only solved this problem, they could have prevented this problem long ago before it even could become even a thought of a problem. Because they would have this amazing insight. They would be able to see that the Lord and Savior has all these ideas and plans, and they would be able to fucking use these plans to implement peace and tranquility in the world and make everything super duper super amazing. And yet, all they do is fail. That's literally all that happens. It's a goddamn joke. It's a goddamn joke. Throughout all of these world events, all these national events, all these events happening throughout all the cities in the country, ain't no Jesus located anywhere. And yet these Jesus freaks are always fucking talking about some kind of Jesus shit. They're always talking about how they follow Jesus, and they can't demonstrate where Jesus is at for them to follow this fucking fool. At the end of the day, they're just making it all up. They have nothing. They have no facts, no data, no information, no statistics, no evidence of any kind. All they have are bullshit excuses, arguments, fucking logical fallacies, appeals to fucking emotion, appeals to ignorance, appeals to stupidity, craziness, appeals to faith. They engage in everything but providing actual truth or just being honest and saying they don't know. Every now and then you might find a Christian who will be honest and say, you know what, I don't know, but that's rare. They always talk like they know. And the moment you challenge them, they start talking about how you're such a fucking hater. They start talking about how you're so evil and terrible and a horrible unbeliever and unbeliever. And you're going to find out one day when you go to hell and the Lord going to do this and the Lord going to do that and Jesus this and Jesus that and the Father, the Son, and Holy Spirit this. Meanwhile, none, zero of them demonstrated this crap ever. Never. Not one time, not one singular time. Not one time have they ever done it, nor will they ever do it because they can't. You mean to tell me that over the course of thousands of years, with billions of people subscribing to these ridiculous ideologies, that zero of them, not one single time can demonstrate any of the crap that they preach about? How could that possibly be if it was so fucking true? Why are they such miserable failures if what they were saying was so fucking real and so true? I don't get it. That's why I was saying the other day that these ideologies are evil. See, when they were first developed, I'm pretty sure that was the best that they had for trying to understand the nature of reality. Somebody had to come up with something. But see, the problem is we developed the scientific method. And the scientific method works. And not only does it works an extreme amount of the time. Like a lot. It's not to say that science is perfect, but science is always perfecting itself. It's always improving, evolving, developing. We're gaining more understandings, better understandings. We're able to innovate new technologies to help us even better understand. We're experiencing a time now of what I call a positive feedback loop of innovation. This is one of the reasons why we're also 85 Seconds to Midnight. Because see, when you have all this innovation and you lack guardrails and you have a bunch of loonies in office, it could spell chaos at some point if the fucking loonies don't do right with their innovations. That's why I do what I do, so that we can get our act together before it's too late. Because we have to have real conversation about reality. There's too much propaganda. There's too much fucking bullshit being spread all throughout the fucking world, all throughout the nation. At all times, on every media platform. Despite all these billion-dollar networks, these billion-dollar companies, these billion-dollar news channels, news agencies, all these fucking super heavy influencers with their millions of followers, zero of them have any fucking actual fucking data, have any actual solutions of any kind whatsoever. They repeat the same old bullshit. And at the end of the day, we're 85 seconds to midnight. They don't even make that a fucking news story. And if they do, it's a news story for like a day, and then it goes away. It'll never be talked about ever again. So most people don't even know half of this shit. Nor do they care, because they're not told to care. They're not taught to care. They're told not to give a fuck. Hey, don't even focus on that. Just keep watching your TV. Just keep surfing the TikTok and just scrolling. What? Keep scrolling. Yeah, keep scrolling. What? Keep scrolling. Come on. That's what people are taught to do on a constant basis. But they're not taught to actually think objectively, think critically, actually analyze what you are being told. Do your due diligence and actually look deeper into this topic. Actually, like, pair it up with other claims, other sources, and see if that shit aligns, or if there's other things that might have been missed, nuance that might be missed, context that might be mixed. Let's actually figure this shit out. Let's go deeper. No, all these goofies try to make this shit seem simple as fuck, easy as fuck. All you gotta do is just vote Democrat, and then one day, maybe they might do something that might be useful one day. Instead, they just fail and fail and fail. It don't matter which of the parties get in the office, Democrat, Republican, Democrat, Republican, Democrat. They all fail the same. They all fail, and they've been failing the same. That's how we got here. That's why I have such a huge problem with a lot of politicians, a lot of people, citizens, especially Christians on both sides, because they all fucking talk about how the Lord told them this and that, and the Lord said you need to support this candidate or that candidate, but none of them can produce the Lord. So how can any of them say that the Lord said anything if they can't show us the Lord at all? That's why it's a scam. That's why Christianity is a scam. It's the greatest, longest running scam in human history. And Islam might be a close second. Both of them major fucking scams. Because zero of them, look, Christianity has 2.4 billion people across the world. Islam has like 2.3 billion people across the world. So that's about 4.7 billion people across the world. That's like half the world just with these two religions alone. And yet zero, I repeat, zero of any group, either of these groups, could demonstrate any of their sci-fi fantasy fucking bullshit. And if you want to throw in the fucking, the Hindus, that's like another 1.4 billion. So you're talking about more than half of the world subscribe to some form of theism, and yet zero, I mean literally zero, 0.000000000000000% of any of these theists could demonstrate any of what they're talking about. None. Literally none. A big whopping zero. How can billions of people across the world believe in some form of sci-fi fantasy lunacy and stand on it so strongly and purport it so heavily as if this is like the most amazing, most wonderful ideas in the world, and yet zero of them can demonstrate any of it? Why do they continue to stand on it? Why do they continue to purport it and yet consistently, persistently fail to make their case, to make any case? This is why we talk about theologies and theocracies. Because at the end of the day, the theology is useless, it's baseless, it's unjustifiable. Not one single theist in the world can demonstrate that their deity is real, because if they could, they would, and then this argument, this debate would be over. They would be right, we would be wrong, and we'd all have to convert or at least acknowledge that they're right. But see, in the modern age, it is abundantly clear that 0% of them are correct. 0% of them are accurate. See, these people have the need to be right. I have a need to be accurate. There's a fundamentally subtle but important difference in that regard. See, they have the need to be right. They have already accepted their position as correct. So they're going to push that position no matter fucking what, even if they don't make any goddamn sense, even if they don't have a single shred of evidence, even if they look loony as fuck trying to argue it. See, me, I have a need to be accurate. My positions have changed over the years, and they continue to change as I get older and gain more wisdom, knowledge, and experience. Because I have a super duper thirst for knowledge. I want to ensure that my positions comport with reality. I want to ensure that I'm not just believing shit just because I feel like it or because I want to, because my mommy told me to, because my pastor told me to. I want to believe what I believe because it's correct, because it's logical, because it's reasonable, because it's sound, because it's valid, because it is sensible, because it is based in reality, because it is supported by evidence, data, statistics, information, experimentation, that all the data shows that my position is the most reasonable position. Therefore, anybody who disagrees, they gotta really make a fucking case. They gotta come with some shit. They gotta come with some way better data. They gotta come with superior logic. They gotta come through with some superior facts. They shouldn't have to get emotional. They should just be able to make their case. It shouldn't be that hard. They shouldn't have to use these fallacies at all. For the type of claims that they make, the fantastical claims that there's the supernatural super thing that does this and does that and says this and says that, believes this, believes that, has all these different attributes, it should be the easiest thing in the world for them to show. And if it's not the easiest, then they should have a method that clearly, unquestionably demonstrates their claims, because they have a direct connection to the super thing. And so the super thing should know exactly the best method they can implement to demonstrate their claims. That would be the most obviously convincing fucking methodologies that would convince people like me, skeptics like me, who don't just accept their bullshit at face value. I mean, I used to accept that at face value, and then I realized that didn't make any goddamn sense. The more I learned about logic, the more I learned about science, the less and less and less sense this sci-fi fantasy fucking bullshit made. It made no sense. It made no sense. Because I couldn't get past the idea that the supernatural superintelligence is so super duper smart and omniscient as these supernatural superintelligence super believers claim. And yet the supernatural superintelligence would be such a super failure that it would create things that it would dislike. Why would a super creator, a super intelligent engineer create things that are suboptimal, then be mad at the motherfucking object it created when it has complete mastery of the laws of physics? It literally could just make whatever the hell it wanted and shape it the way it wants because it completely controls the laws of physics. This supernatural super entity can't be that intelligent if it constantly fails on a constant basis, despite its complete control of everything, despite the fact it has complete knowledge and information. Like here's an example, right? I deal with AI. I deal with these large language models every day. I'm always using the Claude Opus on the app called Orion that I use, right? It's gotten a lot better, by the way, just to update y'all on that, because it was frustrating the fuck out of me last week, but it's gotten better, even though hit the goddamn fucking rate limits. So now I can't use it to the 4th. It's already the 1st. And I have the max plan. Like, it's so sickening and frustrating that even when you have the highest paid plan, you still can't fucking use some shit. That's so crazy. But that's neither here nor there. But on the way to where it's gotten to, at least right now, it's been a fucking frustrating experience. And that's how I feel like this supernatural, super intelligent, super thing that these Jesus freaks want to worship has behaved. See, dealing with AI that's imperfect, it'll do shit that's ridiculous. And you'll be like, yo, why the fuck would it do that? Like I talked on one of my previous lives about how it exposed some of my credentials because it hard coded it into the fucking system and compromised the credentials on GitHub. And I'm like, that should be a basic thing that AI should know never to do. That it should never hard code credentials and then leave them exposed. Right? I mean, you've been seeing all these, or maybe you haven't. Like, there's been stories about how OpenClaw has helped to compromise a lot of users and what have you. And that's the type of shit that should never happen. And stuff like that. But see, you can understand because AI is it's not quite there. It's getting there. It's definitely getting to super intelligence, right? Like it's definitely the one I'm using has definitely got better. But the point is, like, you can understand that with this innovation, it's going to get better, even though it's not quite there. It'll get to a point where it's always being super duper sensible, reasonable, logical, just has a complete mastery of what it's doing. Like when you look at an expert, experts know what the fuck to do. The thing experts don't do is make silly ass, rookie ass mistakes. Because that's rookie shit. An expert knows not to do that shit because that could be catastrophic. So to see these sci-fi fantasy ideologies worship a supernatural super thing that makes stupid ass mistakes goes to show you how stupid these people are, how stupid these ideologies are. Right? Like I always talk about this one story in the Bible. It's actually the passage that caused me to seriously doubt this belief system, ultimately caused me to divorce myself from it. It's the story in 1 Samuel 15. Every aspect of the story shows you how ridiculous this ideology is and how it simply can't be true. Long story short, so Samuel comes to this guy named Saul and tells Saul, hey, the Lord told me to tell you, you got to go over to the land of Amalek, kill all the Amalekites, don't leave shit. Kill everybody, the men, the women, the children, the babies, the dogs, the geese, the lambs, the cow, the cattle, all that shit. Kill them all, don't leave shit. Oh, yeah, and kill the king, too. Kill his bitch ass. The Lord don't like his ass. You know, the Lord don't like ugly, right? You know, the Lord don't make mistakes. Except, see, here's the irony. In this story, the Lord does make a mistake because apparently Saul failed to complete the mission. He spared the king. He killed all the people, killed all the babies, you know what I'm saying? But he kept some of the animals and was like, no, actually we can make money with that. Why kill it when we can fucking profit from it? And so the Samuel came to him and was like, yo, bro, the Lord ain't like that shit, man. You were supposed to kill everything and everybody and not leave shit. You know what? You know what? It's all good. Just letting you know the Lord, he gonna take your shit, gonna take all your land, gonna take all your fucking money, and tell your ass, get the fuck out of town. Like, get out. So apparently the Lord stripped him of his fucking land and stripped him of his fucking money. And then this is the best part. It literally says, the Lord regretted its decision. Every aspect of this story is absurd because, first of all, the part that got me about the story was that it basically is about genocide, or at least mass murder, including child murder and infanticide. It literally specifies in this passage, and now this is a passage in the Old Testament, so let me say that, but it's a story by the Lord, about the Lord supposedly, allegedly telling this guy to kill everybody, and it specifies child murder and infanticide. Specifies that. To me, as a person who I think I'm a good person, that sounds crazy to me. That sounds crazy to me. that the Lord would want anybody to kill children and babies. This is one of the reasons why I have a huge problem with anti-abortionists as well. Because here's a passage in their book of their supernatural super thing directly approving of child murder and infanticide, which is why I don't have an understanding as to why these loonies are so anti-abortion, because according to their own lore, the Lord approves child murder, which would, you would think, imply that it would approve of abortion. I mean, then there's passages that literally approve of abortion itself. But that's neither here nor there. It's the fact that it approves of child murder and infanticide in the book. It's not a debate. It's not a question. I remember I had somebody on the live on TikTok when I talked about this who tried to ask, well, what translation are you using? So we just went through different translations and it literally kept saying the same thing. The Lord said, kill all the men, women, children, babies, or say the youth and the infants. And it just used different fucking terms to mean the same thing. No, it is unquestionably clear. The Lord said, kill the children and babies. That I had a major problem with out the gate, because I'm like, why would the Lord ever want that? Even if the Lord had a problem with these people, it couldn't come up with a better solution than that. It couldn't do something different, like, say, kidnap the babies and just raise them as your own or something. Or no, it had to kill the babies. And the Lord wasn't mad about Saul killing the babies. It was mad because he didn't kill the king and killed all the animals. That's the craziest shit in the fucking world. He wasn't mad, and this is according to Samuel, and I'm gonna get to that in a little bit. The Lord wasn't mad about killing babies, killing innocent people. People who was just minding their own fucking business. You know what I'm saying? Like, the Lord was mad about not killing enough innocent motherfuckers, and not killing the king. And then the Lord regretted his decision, which means it made a mistake. Who regrets decisions unless you look at that decision as a mistake? If you say, hey, if I could go back in time, which you would think the Lord would be able to do because, it's omnipotent, it's able to do everything, so it should just be able to go back in time, but that's neither here nor there. You would think that the Lord that was omniscient would know that that's what was going to happen and would pick a better outcome. So it trips me out that people like my uncle could say the Lord don't make mistakes when, according to their own lore, it does. So then it calls into question whether or not it's actually a super intelligence. What the fuck kind of super intelligence makes super fucking mistakes? If it had the ability to know exactly what would happen according to them, these people say that it's omniscient, then how could a story like this exist at all? And then why is it that stories like this cause so much confusion among them, cause so much division among them? Because, see, I've talked to different Christians about these different things. Christians always work to try to make excuses for this shit. See, the whole reason why this passage became a problem for me is because an atheist like me challenged me to answer for these problems, these type of problems in the Bible. And so I'm going through this list of things, trying to justify these inconsistencies, contradictions, and moral injustices, or whatever you want to call it, moral quandaries, or just straight up immoralities in the Bible. And when I came across that, I'm like, I can't justify it. I can't. But Christians who really, really want to continue believing, they're going to make some bullshit ass mistake. I remember one time I was working at this spot called Airport Express. And I will never forget this. One of my former coworkers, because, Christians are everywhere. And when you work around a bunch of Christians, they always gonna jump on that Christian shit. They're gonna talk about Christianity. They're gonna play Christian music. They're gonna just do Christian stuff. And me, I try to tolerate it, but then there's just times I can't. I have to jump in. Um, so long story short, they started talking about some Christian shit, and as usual, I bring up this story. And so one of my coworkers, she so I mentioned the whole like child murder and infanticide. What the fuck is up with that shit? And she's like, well, they didn't really die. It was the Lord was just calling them home. The Lord was just calling them home. And that blew my fucking mind that somebody could even think to say some shit like that. Because if I was going to accept that as an answer, then we could say that about any and every occasion that children get murdered. So why should we ever have any problem with children getting fucking murdered? Because we could just say the Lord was just calling them home. So the next time that there's a fucking mass shooting at a Christian school, the next time that there's a mass shooting at a bar, like what just happened in fucking Austin, right? Because there's this story about that, right? FBI investigating Austin mass shooting as potential terrorism. Yeah, when people get killed, when children get killed, we should just look at it as though fucking the Lord was calling them home. And ironically, the same woman, she had a fucking miscarriage, but that's neither here nor there. But this is the type of shit that happens when you live in a theocracy. People make up bullshit excuses for children getting harmed, children getting maimed, hurt, abused, killed, raped, all that shit. They make up excuses instead of being like, damn, that's fucked up. That's terrible. This should never happen. I mean, sometimes they do that, but then they'll give their useless thoughts and prayers and move on like nothing happened. They don't actually work to try to figure out how to solve this shit, how to prevent this shit, how to stop this shit. Hey, how do we prevent miscarriages from happening ever again? How do we prevent children from being abused ever? How do we prevent child murder, infanticide, child rape? Instead, child rape happens in their cultures the most. Child murder happens in their cultures the most. All these children getting abused, it happens in their cultures the most. Children are more likely to get raped in the church than any people in general are more likely to get raped in the church than anywhere else in the fucking world. Right? We show these fucking statistics all the fucking time, right? About how, you know, people in the church tend to have more victims and younger victims. This is just par for the fucking course. And they make it seem like I'm such a terrible person because I bring this shit up. You feel what I'm saying? So it sickens me that these things can be just every day. I mean, we talk about this shit every day. We talk about these stories every single motherfucking day and how so many people are constantly suffering. So many children constantly suffering. So many loonies getting caught day after day after day after day after day. And yet, nothing gets done. Nothing gets changed. Pope after pope after pope, like none of them can figure out a solution, even though they have a direct connection to the supernatural super thing. Or so they claim. All these Christians all across the country, all across the world, they ain't got nothing but excuses. That's why I say that these ideologies are fucking evil. So when you have a country like America that's literally like choosing to be super influenced by this ideology, you have an evil government, an evil country. America is an evil country. America is evil. Straight like that. You know it's evil when, just like in this fucking article, what did it say? Let me see if I can find it. As Mennonites became more knowledgeable of world and national politics, voting became a way to choose the lesser of two imperfect options. Now you see that? Did you see that? I don't think she meant to say that like that, but she said it became a way to choose the lesser of two imperfect options. It didn't say the lesser evil, even though I think that's what it meant to say, but it said a way to choose the lesser, which means they're intentionally choosing lesser options. See, that's why words matter. That's why words matter. Because I think that was a typo, but that's actually what they meant. Because that's what we see. We see that our nation is always choosing the lesser of imperfect options almost all the time. The fact that we have to choose, I mean, look, the issue isn't that they're imperfect. Imperfect is an understatement. The reality is that they're fucked options. Both options are fucked. That's why we're 85 seconds to midnight. We were going to get to where we are regardless of what would ever happen. All the people that were anti-Trump, they were happy when Biden got in the office. All they were doing was delaying the inevitable. The shit that's been happening in this term of Trump's presidency, we were going to experience this at some point anyway. Because, see, when you're choosing the lesser of two options, you're always going to be going downhill until you hit rock bottom. And I don't even know if this is rock bottom because people are so fucking retarded. They haven't learned any of the fucking lessons that they should learn. Right? You still got Democrats right now trying to push fucking identity politics as a fucking like response and shit like that, talking about how there's strong women that are fighting against Trump's policies. Who cares about that? We're 85 seconds to midnight. The time is now to move past this ideological bullshit, this identity politics bullshit, this religious identity politics bullshit, because all of it is bullshit. It's all bullshit. That's why I say it's evil. See, at the time when these ideologies were formed, maybe people were actually trying to figure out things and, whatever. But now we have the scientific method. These motherfuckers need to move around with the sci-fi fantasy fucking bullshit. With these ancient sci-fi fantasy ideas and ideologies, people need to shut the fuck up. That's why I say, okay, put up or shut up right now. Show us this God shit. Miss me all that bullshit. I don't care. Oh, I'm so filled with hate. Okay, then show us your love and show us how much you love the world by demonstrating your craziness. Show us that your craziness actually isn't crazy, but that's actually sane and that's it's rooted in reality and that is actually valuable and useful and helpful. Actually helping to improve people's lives in real life. I don't mean, using the placebo effect to convince people to think they're doing better, like on those fucking bullshit ass fucking mega church podcasts or mega church streams where they take people out of wheelchairs and she was able to stand up, but then when she go home, she's still back in the wheelchair. We don't need to see no more shit like that. That's why I'm on some transhumanist shit. I'm on some she don't need a wheelchair because now she's a superhuman. Now she can run, hop, skip, jump, fly, all that shit. Where she can de-age, we can extend her life, and she could be as healthy as she was when she was 22 at fucking 92. Literally. Not just she could kind of feel it because she felt it in her spirit. Because the Lord said, and the pastor talked like this and made everybody feel like they get all the fucking spirits. And they just talk like this and act like, the Lord, and the Lord, and Fuck out of here with all that crap. all that fucking craziness. No, we want to actually improve people's health. Literally improve their health, improve their mental and physical capabilities, improve their cognition, improve their lifespan, all that shit. Not the sci-fi fantasy fucking self-denialism shit, self-fucking delusion shit. We don't want anybody deluded. We want everybody to be as sane and as practical and pragmatic as possible. Otherwise, what the fuck are we doing? If it ain't helping, it's hurting. And all these bullshit ideologies, these religious institutions, they ain't help shit. What do they help? What exactly do they help other than fucking weirdos rape kids? Because we can show all those stories. We always show those stories. There's so many stories. It's absolutely outrageous. New stories damn near every single fucking day. Every single day. Almost every day. News stories of these loony Christians engaging in this antisocial behavior, harming children on a regular basis. And yet they shield themselves. They shield each other from this data. They act like I'm the crazy person for talking about it, for talking about how their leaders are constantly getting caught raping children. They always talk about how they got the super duper fucking connection to the super thing, but they never demonstrated ever, not once, one time. That's why I say that they're evil, because they know that they can't, but they still purport it, and goofies around the country, around the world, still fall for it. Still. It makes me sick. So, yeah, so these are gonna be these are gonna be some trying times. But as long as we constantly work together interdependently with synergy to challenge this bullshit, we're gonna be super duper successful. Because at the end of the day, they can't hide their bullshit for much longer. I don't care how many billions of them exist. 0 of them can demonstrate their fucking claims. 0 of them can demonstrate how they can actually help us in any way, shape, or form. So, it is only a matter of time until their bullshit falls by the wayside, because they have nothing. They have nothing. If they did, they'd have been shown it. The time is now for them to put up or shut the fuck up. And since they ain't got nothing to put up, there's only one other option. Shut the fuck up with that sci-fi fantasy fucking bullshit. All you fucking child rape apologists acting like y'all ain't been apologizing for child rape this whole entire time. Like we ain't got all these fucking stories of all these child rapists on y'all fucking watch raping. No, I'ma just end it. Like, at the end of the day, Christians have nothing. They have no data, no information. They have no God. They have no way of demonstrating their claims. They're all they are hyper efficient resource extraction mechanisms. That's it. They do a great job extracting resources from our communities and hoarding it for themselves. That's it. They don't actually provide any value to our communities, because if they did, why is a community like mine one of the most dangerous neighborhoods in the nation, despite having all these churches all around here, all these Christians all around here? Why can't a single Christian demonstrate their sci-fi fantasy bullshit? Why can't all Christians in the world get on the same page and use their Christianity to make the world awesome if what they believe was so fucking true? Why can't they agree on their fucking bullshit? Because it's bullshit. That's why. See, when you're just making shit up, everybody's gonna disagree because it's made up shit. But if it was true, everybody'd be on the same page. See, like 2 + 2 = 4. That's the truth, no matter who you fucking talk to, no matter where you go in the world. Somebody disagrees, they're fucking wrong. And it's that simple. You get 2 things, you get 2 more things, you got 4 things. Okay? It's that simple. Anybody want to try to fucking disprove that? Good fucking luck. Anybody trying to argue against that? I ain't trying to hear you. You gotta have the best argument in the fucking world. Your understanding of mathematics has to be so fucking deep that you blow my mind to show me how 2 plus 2 can equal anything other than 4. Because if you can't do that, shut the fuck up and get the fuck in line. Learn this math shit or shut your dumb ass up and get the fuck out of the school. And don't go anywhere near a position of decision making at all. That's how we need to be as a society. These loonies that purport this bullshit have nothing, and it's time that we stop respecting it because it's not respectable. Maybe 1,500 years ago that might have been respectable, but in the modern age, it's not. It's time now to show your sci-fi fantasy bullshit or shut your dumb ass the fuck up forever. Thus concludes today's episode of the No Cap Zone, a place where we have a super duper strict dress code. Now get the fuck off with that capping ass bullshit. The only kind of cap that we allow around these parts is your thinking cap, otherwise move the fuck around. Okay, because all we care about are the facts, the truth, the data, the information, the statistics, things that can actually be demonstrated in real life, like in real time. Like while we are alive and while we're sane and of sound mind and body, because otherwise, I don't know what the fuck these goofies is out here talking about. And to tell you the truth, they don't know what the hell they talking about, which is why we gotta talk about it. So, stay smooth. Stop being bitch-ass simps and pick-me's for these psycho narcos. And most importantly, let's bring some sense to this goddamn crazy-ass world once and for all, shall we? Thank God that everybody came through. We should start doing think tanks again soon because we have not been doing them. Our community has definitely gotten a lot more fractured ever since I got for TikTok, but whatever. We'll figure this shit out. Holla back at your motherfucking boy, man.